Hello model railroad fans. In today's video I got a Goodyear train set for us to take a look at. So give me just a moment to get set up on the tripod and I will be right back. Alright, before we get started I'd like to take a quick moment to thank you for joining me here at Vintage Road and Rail. And as I said at the outset, we got a Goodyear train set we're going to take a look at. And what this is exactly is it's HO scale, Goodyear's 100-year anniversary limited edition collector's train set, and it's put out by Model Power in the year 1998. So this is running, about 23 years old at the time of filming this, which it's October 2021. So this is a complete train set. It's everything except the box and the paperwork. I kind of a little bummed I wasn't able to get it with the box, but I would have paid easily twice as much, maybe even more, to get it with the box. I mean, just the train set in itself would have easily been twice as much if I had the box, but then the shipping would have probably been ridiculous. I think this cost me like $10 to get shipped to me off of eBay. So anyway, you can kind of see part of it in frame here. So basically, just a quick rundown. We got a locomotive, 4 freight cars, a caboose, some track, a little bag of accessories, and a power pack. So let's take a quick look at everything, and then we will throw it on the track for a couple of moments just to see how it runs. And then I'm going to take it down to the train club and get some footage of that running on the club layout. So you'll want to stick around to the end to see, just to see it in action on something a little bit nicer than my train table that I'm still dragging my feet on turned into a layout. So anyway, the track is nothing spectacular. You're going to get all the pieces of track you need to complete a simple oval. So here's some of the curved track there. That's going to be one side. I believe that's going to be 6 pieces. And this will be the other side of the loop. This is 5 pieces here, because the 6th piece is actually going to be where you can hook up your power supply. This does not have a re-railer, so you're just going to have to put everything on manually. And to make it a oval instead of a circle, you get 2 straight pieces. So I'm assuming these are 9-inch and that these curves are standard 18-inch radius curves. And because this is 1998, I'm assuming this is steel track, but I have no documentation to say, to tell me otherwise. I guess I could always get a magnet and put it on there and see what happens, but I don't feel like running upstairs to the refrigerator. Alright, so the other unexciting bit is going to be this standard basic power supply. Nothing too fancy about it. So that power supply and that track is going to find itself in a box somewhere over in storage. Alright, and the next thing we've got is a little box of accessories. A little bag of accessories. So let's take all of this out and take a look at what you get in this accessory bag, and then we'll move on to the good stuff. The reason you actually clicked on the video. Alright, let me just dump all of this out here. Alright, so this is going to be your little wires that you connect to your power supply. These will go on the little screw ends, and then somewhere in here there's the bare wire would clip onto that terminal track. So let's set that off to the side. So you're going to get 4 of these little, I don't know the exact name for them, I just call them train signals because they remind me of red lights, so I just think of them as red lights for trains, which I'm assuming that's what they do. If you have a red, you need to be, if you're not stopped, you need to be stopping, and green gives you the go-ahead. That's my assumption. I know what happens a lot of times when I assume, so I don't want to assume too much. And then, when I initially saw this, I thought this was going to be like some sort of a crossing, like a pedestrian crossing, so you don't have to step on the, cross the tracks, which would come in really handy if, the tracks are really busy. But it just kind of snaps together. You'll see this little end right here, this little box end, and it just fits in straight like that, and it'll look like this. So we'll snap that together, and I have it upside down. Let's try that again, the right way up. So when I saw it in the picture, I didn't pay too much attention to it, but you can kind of see why I thought it might be a crossing. But looks to me to be just another version of a signal. So you got your green, we got your red, and if you turn it around, it's pretty much the same thing on the other side. So nothing to write home about that, but it's a neat little accessory. Gives you a little bit of play value when you pull this set out. All right, so now let's get to the good stuff. Now let me grab my little pencil here. All right, so this is our caboose. Let me just put it flat in my hand so you can see the whole side. This is a bay window caboose because you got your bay window sticking out here so you can see down the side of the train. Nothing fancy about it. It's in blue and yellow, and it says Goodyear here on the side. And if we look on the bottom, we can see it's got horn hook couplers on both ends. The trucks are intact, but it has plastic wheels, so there's no metal. And there's almost no detail to speak of on the bottom, which, really, to be honest with you, I could care less. I mean, how often are you really going to be looking at the bottom of this? It's not like, you know, you're looking up from the bottom of the table or something. All right. Both ends have a metal rail. And we can see a little bit of texture, a little molded in texture right here for the where you would step up. But there's no painted detail anywhere on there. And I was wondering at first, I was like, where's the brake wheel? There's no brake wheel, there's no ladder. And while there's no ladder, you've got a molded in brake wheel right there. So that's not going to be the most realistic look, but you're not going to lose it, I can tell you that. And then finally here is the top. I believe this little smokestack, there was a thin little piece that stuck up that has broken off, but it's not overly noticeable to me. There's only two flaws that I really saw in this train set, and I didn't even notice them until after I got it. And this is one of them. The last one will be on the locomotive, and I'll point that out when we get there. But anyway, so there's the caboose. Not a bad looking caboose. And I didn't mention it at the outset, but you probably saw it in the description. This is an intermodal train. All right, so next we've got a flat car with a trailer on it. So I'm going to flip this over without it falling off. And then we've got another one that's almost just like it. Right here. These flat cars are identical, with the exception of the trailer that's on there, and they're identical except for their paint job. Alright, so let's take the trailer off of here and let's get a closer look. So this is your flat car, and this is where your wheels are going to sit, and this is going to be, I don't know what you call it in the trucking world, but the little stand that keeps your trailer level. Well, actually, there's three major flaws. I forgot about this one. The brake wheel here is split. I'm going to try to fix it. If not, I'll see if I can dig up one somewhere. But otherwise, it's in great shape. It's just straight yellow. There's no marking on it anywhere. No road numbers. Doesn't say Goodyear or anything. But we got some molded in detail on the bottom. Both horn hook couplers are present. And we've got plastic wheels as well. But they're all there, so it's pretty much ready to go. And I'm going to set both trailers off. And again, this car is identical, except that it has a brake wheel that's in good shape. So just give you a quick look at the bottom that everything is intact. Nothing new to see there. Alright, and here is our trailers. Let's take a quick peek at these. A little bit of detail on them, but they're not nothing really to write home about as compared to some of the models you may see today. But this is white with some blue. We've got a picture of our Goodyear blimp. and this is airship operations. So my assumption would be that this would carry maybe some parts or equipment to maintain the Goodyear blimp. Maybe when that thing is rotating around, the blimp is flying around a stadium. Maybe they have this nearby in case they need some parts for it, at the airfield or wherever. All right, but we do have 2, 4, 6, 8 wheels, and they're separated. So that's nice, instead of having like just one big fat wheel to represent 2. And we've got our little hitch, and we've got our little stands, and this is actually metal, which adds a little bit of weight to the car. And we got some molded on detail for your doors, and they do open just like that. So I think it's nice looking. A little bit of wear on the top, but I think some rubbing alcohol. Well, actually, before I try that, a little soapy water, but maybe some rubbing alcohol will get that off. Now the next trailer is pretty much identical, except it's got a different paint job. And we see here it says Goodyear #1 in racing. And everything else is identical, except its paint job. Even the doors open up. Alright. So that's the second part of our intermodal train. And we have one more flat car with a load on it. And this has a couple of containers. There's really not a whole lot of difference in this flat car and the others, except the way these are mounted on there. And I'm trying to figure, do these even come off? I don't even know if they come off, and I'm not going to pry them off. I don't want to risk breaking it. So anyway, so you got 2 containers here. This one is blue, it says Goodyear Belts and Hoses. And this one is white, it says Goodyear Chemicals. And pretty much all of the detail is going to be exactly the same as that other flat car. Like I said, they're probably the only real difference is the mechanism. This has a mechanism for to secure a different type of trailer, and this has a couple of containers. So horn hooks, trucks, wheels, all intact. Alright, and the final car that comes with this set is this box car. I believe it's 40 foot. It's in blue and yellow. Not a lot of molded on detail, but we do have some ladders, and the stirrups are present. And I didn't point it out, but the stirrups are present on all the other cars. None of them are broken off. And we have our ladder here, and again a molded in wheel, brake wheel, so it's not going anywhere. I don't care for the look of the molded in brake wheel, I guess because I'm just so used to seeing one that, a little pokes out. But you're not going to lose it, that's for sure, like I said earlier. And you have doors that open on both sides. And it says on the side here, Serious Freedom, Goodyear. It's printed 4 times on there. Roof walk looks really good. Nice molded in detail there. And that is the 40-foot boxcar. Alright, so that completes the look at the cars and the Caboose. So let's take a look at the Locomotive now. This is, I believe, an F2. I don't have the paperwork to tell me, but I've got a Union Pacific model power locomotive in the box over there somewhere that looks identical to this, and it said F2 on the side. Alright, so let me point out the other flaw here. The third flaw I saw with this train set as a whole is right here. There's some scuffing. I don't know if I can patch that up, but it's not overly noticeable because it's this white. If it was blue, it'd probably stick out like a sore thumb, but I don't think it's going to be overly noticeable, so I probably won't worry about it. So let's start on the bottom. So we got horn hook couplers. Both are present. Neither one of them are broken off. And we have nickel silver wheels. And it's powered by both trucks. So we got 8-wheel drive and 8-wheel pickup. And if you ever need to get inside, just pry it apart from the sides, give it a little shake, and the bottom will drop right out. And I've seen a few people actually add DCC to these things, so I'm guessing it's not that difficult to do. I don't know that I would want to fool with it with this set, because this is more of going to be a display set that I may run on occasion, but you certainly can do so if you wanted. Alright, so just to kind of go over some of the detail, not all of it. But here on the front, we've got our 2 windows, and we got our light, which I do believe works. And we've got our little Goodyear shoe with wings. There is no number board on here, or road number, I guess I should say. So we've got some windows here on the side. There is no cab driver in there, so we've got some molded in hand grab harness, handrails and steps. All the steps are present, and you can see this molded in detail all the way around. Some molded in rivets, and we've got these 3 windows here. And I imagine these are supposed to be some tank details here that I'm not real sure what all that is. And on the side here, we've got a really nice paint scheme. We got the white with a little bit of yellow and blue, and it says Goodyear #1 in tires. And while this is molded in detail for these vents, they did take the extra step of at least painting them silver to make them pop out just a little bit instead of leaving them the color of the body. And that's something else they'll have done on the top that I'll point it out in just a moment. All right, around to the back, we've got some molded in detail. We got the door here, and I'm assuming these are ladders, but I'm not 100% sure. It looks like a ladder, but it could be something else. So if it is something else, let me know in the comments if you would. And on this side, it is pretty much identical to the other side. All this molded in detail, a little bit of extra paint, nothing broken. So if we get on the top, we got our horn present. We got some more molded in detail. We've got 4 fans to vent out heat, which I like these again because like these little grating area, these little vents on the side, they could have left on body color, but they did at least take the extra step of putting a little bit of silver paint in there just to make it pop out a little bit. And then we have a steam generator, so this could be used for passenger service if need be. All right, so that is the look at the locomotive and the train set in general. All right, so I'm going to pop it on the track. I'm only going to let it do a lap or 2 on this track, and then I'm about to go down to the train club, and I'm going to throw it on our big layout and get some footage of it running there, and just some nicer shots than what you get on my train table. So we want to stick around for that. So all right, so let me stop right here and get this all on the track here, and I'll be right back. All right, so we are on the track here. Let me move my notes off the table there, and we can see here is the complete train set on the track. All right, so up here I have disconnected my DCC unit and put in my good old-fashioned Model Power DC controller. So let's just give it a little bit of throttle, and there she goes. I'm just going to set it at a nice slow pace. Seems to be running really well, really nice. And let's see if this headlight's working. And it is working just fine. All right, so this is the 100th anniversary Goodyear Intermodal train set put out by Model Power in 1998. If you enjoyed taking a look at this train set, make sure and hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any thoughts on this train set, like it, don't like it, leave a comment. I enjoy reading comments and try to respond when I do see a comment. But don't run off just yet, because while this wraps up what I'm doing here, I'm going to take this down to the club and let it run a few laps on the layout and try to get some little bit better footage on a much nicer layout than what I've got right here. So stick around for that. But otherwise, again, thank you for joining me here at Vintage Road and Rail, and happy model railroading. Take care.